The Maine Eviction Notice. What is an eviction notice? Eviction notice, or notice to quit, is a letter sent by the landlord to the tenant notifying them that they should either take or stop a certain action or vacate the rented premises. Eviction notice can be of two types: conditional, when a tenant is given time to remedy the breach of the lease, or unconditional, when a landlord terminates the lease without any alternative options for a tenant. What should an eviction notice include? Information about the tenant and the landlord. The reason for sending the notice. The date by which the tenant should take or stop a certain action. The consequences of noncompliance. The date and way of notice delivery and the landlord's signature in the form of certificate of service attached to the notice. How to evict a tenant in Maine. Non-payment notice. Maine legislature sets a grace period of 15 days after which the rent is considered late. A tenant who fails to pay rent after it is due should get a 7-day notice to either pay or quit before a landlord can lawfully terminate the lease. Non-compliance notice. For other types of lease violations, Maine law does not require the landlord to give the tenant the possibility to correct the issue, but a 7-day notice to quit is always required. It applies to agreements that do not contain a provision about the notice period in case of a breach of the contract. What if the tenant fails to comply? If the tenant fails to pay rent due and associated fees or correct the violation, the landlord can file a complaint with the appropriate Maine court. The filing fee is $100 statewide. Then, the summons and complaint should be served on the tenant by a person authorized by court no less than 7 days before the hearing date. If the tenant wants to contest an eviction, they can appear for the hearing. They can also file a formal answer with the court if they want the hearing to be recorded. If they fail to appear for the hearing, the court might make a judgment in favor of the landlord by default. If the landlord wins the eviction case, the court will issue a writ of possession. In the state of Maine, such an order gives the tenant 48 hours to move out. If they fail to meet the term, they will be forcibly evicted by a law enforcement officer.